Hello everyone, here I am with the topic from obstetrics and gynecological nursing. The topic name is genital prolapse in pregnancy. Generally, most of the pregnancy events are happy for the woman, but there are certain complications that the woman may face, and these genital problems is that kind of condition which the woman is facing throughout her pregnancy. So in this case, either she is having the existing prolapse and then she is missing the pregnancy, and sometimes she is developing the prolapse during her normal pregnancy. So we will move forward. First, we will see learning objective. So after studying this topic, you will be able to define genital prolapse in pregnancy, differentiate the types of organ prolapse, enumerate stages of genital prolapse, determine grade, degree of the genital prolapse, and then explain causes and risk factor of genital prolapse, discuss the effect on prolapse, pregnancy, labor, and puerperium, and list the preventive measures, describe the treatment and management of the genital prolapse. Here is the definition. So, genital prolapse is one of the common clinical gynecological conditions. It includes descent of the vaginal wall or the uterus. That means the uterus or the vaginal wall will fall down from its original location. Now, the pregnancy can occur in women with cystocele, rectocele, and uterine prolapse. It is a form of hernia. Now, this hernia means a bulging or the protrusion of an organ or any tissue through an abnormal opening. So, this cystocele is related with the bladder and the rectocele is related with the rectum. Here I am having two pictures. The first one is of normal uterus, second one is the prolapsed uterus. So in this first picture, you can see the normal position of the uterus, that is anteverted, anteflex. You can clearly see the vaginal canal. Here is the cervical area. This is the body of the uterus and this is the fundus of the uterus. On the anterior side of the uterus, there is a bladder and on the posterior side, there is a rectum. Then here we can directly see the protruded or prolapsed uterus into the vagina. We can see the level of the body of the uterus which have fallen down up to the area of the vaginal canal. And also we can see the shortened length of the vaginal canal. Now, pregnancy is not uncommon in first degree uterine prolapse with cystocele and rectocele, but pregnancy is unlikely when the cervix remains outside the introitus, and continuation of pregnancy in third degree prolapse is an extremely rare event. The incidence of prolapse is about 1 in 250 pregnancies. See, this is the cystocele. So, the anteriorly situated bladder is protruding the posterior surface on the vagina, and this area is protruding on the vaginal canal and it is compressing it. Then here in rectocele, the posterior surface, the rectum is situated. This is protruding anteriorly on the posterior vaginal wall and it is compressing the urethra also. Then stages. So uterine prolapse can be categorized as incomplete or complete. When the uterus is partially displaced into the vagina but does not protrude, it is called incomplete uterine prolapse. And when a portion of the uterus protrudes from the vaginal opening, it is called the complete uterine prolapse. So the condition is graded by its severity, determined by how far the uterus has descended. So there are 4 grades, or we can say 4 degrees, that are first grade, second grade, third grade, and fourth grade, or first degree, second degree, third degree, and the fourth degree. So first grade means when the uterus has descended to the upper vagina only and not into the introitus. Then second grade, uterus has descended up to the level of the introitus. Then in third grade, cervix has descended outside the introitus. Then in the fourth grade, cervix and uterus have both descended outside the introitus. Now the causes. So the main cause is weakness of the structures that are supporting the organs into the position. So the structures which are supporting the organs are primarily pelvic diaphragm, perineal body and urogenital diaphragm. Then secondarily there is ligament including peritoneal ligament and broad ligament of the uterus. So when these supporting structures are getting weak, they are no more capable to hold the uterus on its own position and it will eventually fall down. Then previous difficult labor and trauma during labor, so it will again leading to the weakness of the structures which are supporting. Then delivery of the large baby, so the large baby will have more weight on the uterus, which is stretching the supporting structures more and giving more tension to them. And in the end, they are no more able to function. Then being overweight or obese, so because of the obesity, the woman's own weight or own body mass is giving pressure over the genital organs. And again, it is leading to the dysfunction of the supporting structures. Then chronic constipation or stretching with the bowel movements. So it will compress the peritoneal cavity. Then chronic cough or bronchitis. So while having a chronic cough or having a bronchitis, there is a compression over the diaphragm and then it is going to the pelvic cavity. Then repeated heavy lifting which will weaken the muscle tone. Then risk factors. So multiparity. Now multiparity means the woman is having more than one pregnancy. Then grand multipara. Now this grand multipara means she is having more than one pregnancy and even her age is more than 35 years of age. So in both of these, there is weakening of the muscle of genital organs are there. There is also weak pelvic floor muscles and the vagina is dilated than the non-pregnant state. So this all together will lead to the fall down of the uterus or vaginal wall. Then obesity, already we have discussed. Then prior pelvic surgery. So in case of prior pelvic surgery, there may have a surgical scar in the either supporting structure, either in ligament or any of the genital area. So when there is a growing fetus inside the uterus, so the uterus will not able to expand or stretchen normally because of this scar. So if it is not stretching, it is being inelastic, it will rupture or there will be discontinuity in the ligament which are holding the uterus on the position. So because of this, the uterus will fall down from the position. Then family history of weakness in connective tissue, obviously it will lead for the fall down. Then clinical features, the fall of womb, that means falling down of the uterus, white discharge per vaginum, there will be pelvic pain, backache, bladder symptoms like frequency of urination, inability to pass urine completely, stress incontinence, rectal symptoms, difficulty in defecation and constipation. And this all will be happening because of the compression arising from the falling down uterus on bladder and the bowel. Then there are signs of cystocele, uterine prolapse with ulcerated hypertrophic elongated cervix and urethrocoele. Now effects on prolapse. So there is aggravation of the morbid anatomical changes in prolapse such as marked hypertrophy and edema of the cervix. First degree will become second degree. Cystocele and rectocele become pronounced and there is aggravation of stress incontinence. These are marked during early pregnancy and the effect are due to the weight of the uterus and increased vascularity. A vaginal discharge may be copious and decubitus ulcer may develop when cervix remains outside the introitus. There is chance of incarceration if the uterus fails to rise above the pelvis by 16th week of pregnancy. Now, this incarceration of the uterus means the pregnant uterus is entrapped into the pelvis between the sacropomentary and the symphysis pubis. Now, effects on pregnancy. There is an chances of abortion, discomfort due to increased alignment, premature rupture of the membranes, and chorioamnionitis. Abortion is happening because the falling down uterus is not having much area inside the cavity to keep the fetus inside. So it will expel out. Then discomfort due to the increased alignment. Then premature rupture of the membrane will occur because of the compression is coming from the uterus and also because of the elongated cervix. Then chorioamnionitis. It is also known as the intrauterine infection. It is an inflammation of the fetal membranes that are amnion and chorion due to a bacteria ascending from the vagina into the uterus. Now, as example, we can say prolonged labor because of the longer duration of the exposure than in prolapsed uterus because the genital organ is directly exposing to the outer environment. Now, effect during labor, there is an increased chance of early rupture of the membrane, cervical dystocia, prolonged labor due to non-dilatation of the cervix, obstruction due to sagging cystocele and rectocele, and operative inferences. Then effects during puerperium. So there is an increased chance of subinvolution and uterine sepsis. Now this subinvolution is occurring because as much as the uterus is falling down from its own location, it will take more and more time to revert back to the original place. And uterine sepsis is occurring because of the exposure to the outer environment and it will get the infection. Then prevention. So performing Kegel exercise regularly. So Kegel exercise will improve the pelvic muscle tone. Then treatment and prevention of the constipation, avoidance of heavy lifting and promotion of correct lifting is also important. In controlled coughing, avoidance of overweight gain. Now the treatment and nursing management. So during pregnancy, if the cervix is outside the introitus, the cervix is to be replaced inside the vagina and is to be kept in position by a ring pessary. The ring pessary is to be kept until 18th to 20th week of pregnancy. Make the patient lay in the bed with foot and raised to 20 centimeters. Then cover it with a gauze soaked in glycerine and acryflavine to relieve the edema and the congestion. Then, if the reposition is not possible, termination is to be done. If the cervix remains outside even later month, the patient is admitted in the hospital at the 36th week. See here, you can see the implanted pessary into the vagina. It is supporting the uterus. It is preventing the uterus to fall down into the vagina. Then here are the types of the ring pessary. So there are totally 4 types. First one is only a ring. Second is ring with support. Third is incontinence ring. And fourth is incontinence ring with support. So this is a only ring. Then there is a ring with support. This is a ring with support. Then there will be a incontinence ring and this is a incontinence ring with support. Then during labor, the patient should be in bed not only to prevent early rupture of the membrane but also to facilitate replacement of the prolapsed cervix inside the vagina. The intravaginal plugging soaked with glycerine and acryflavine not only help in reduction of the cervical edema but also facilitates its dilatation. Then prophylactic antibiotics should be administered in case of premature rupture of the membrane or when the cervix remains outside. Then manual stretching of the cervix or pushing up the cystocele or rectocele posterior to the presenting part during uterine contraction will facilitate progressive descent of the head. If the head is deeply engaged with the cervix remaining thin but undilated, delivery may be facilitated by dehiscence incision. That means 2 o'clock or 10 o'clock incision should be made positions followed by venous extraction or forceps application. This incision will help the enlargement of the cervix and thereby easy delivery of the head of the fetus. Then if the head is high up and the cervix remains edematous, thick or undilated, then cesarean section is a safe procedure. And during puerperium, the patient should lay on the bed. If the mass remains outside, it should be covered with gauze soaked in the glycerine and acryflavine. If subinvolution is evident, a ring pessary may be put in until involution is completed. So here we are completing our topic. So throughout the topic, we have discussed about the definition of the genital prolapse, that is the descent of the vaginal wall and the uterus. Then types of organ prolapse, that means that cystocele, rectocele and uterine prolapse. Then stages of genital prolapse, that is complete and incomplete. Then in grade or degree, there is first, second, third and fourth. Then cause and risk factors, then effect on the prolapse, pregnancy, labor and the puerperium, then prevention of the genital prolapse and treatment and management of the genital prolapse. Thank you so much.